You're listening to Slasher Radio.
All right, you, sir, are the scariest motherfucker in the world right now. Like, do you realize that?
I guess so.
I don't even know where to begin. We actually spoke with your co-host Lauren the other day.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
She's amazing, and she told us that when she started going for the role as Sienna and going through that process, when she spoke with you and Damien, you guys kept saying how great this movie was going to be, how big it was going to be. I mean, I agree, but what made you, before anything even happened, what made you feel that way?
It was just the script. I was like, this is a fantastic script. It's going to be epic, and especially the way like her character was written in there. I was like, yeah, this is what's going to really drive this to a new level. Is this great protagonist that comes in that's going to actually give Art a run for his money, because she's got a great story herself. It's a great hero's journey that she goes on. And that's what made me so excited for her. I was like, oh my God. And we cast the greatest person for that I think we could find, is because I knew so much of this movie was going to hinge on her performance. It's not going to be one of those movies I can just carry myself. It's going to take someone of equal caliber to, hold this up. And she totally did that in spades.
Can I ask you a question about the script?
Sure.
How much stage direction are you given? Do they just say be creepy and set you loose, or?
And sometimes it depends on the scene and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a lot of good give and take between Damien and I. And when it comes to like the fight scenes and stuff like that, that's a lot of his. But like once like the glasses scene, that was me just playing around and seeing what I could come up with.
And that's a great point, because we even going back to All Hallows Eve, which is where the character kind of was spawned, I guess. But Terrifier, where it was really, that was such an Art the Clown movie. Like, you took control of that character, all that good stuff, and it was fun to watch you kill people in amazing ways.
Oh yeah.
Right, but that's a great point, where like Sienna's character and pretty much all the characters in general that were in the everybody did such a great job. But that's kind of what takes it to that next level, because Terrifier had its moment. It was a big hit, a lot of popularity, but it eventually faded off, like all movies do after their release. But like Terrifier 2, here we are with all these characters and all that strong story involved. And you're right, that I didn't even think about that being a big part of the reason that it took it to that next level.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just like, we just upped everything on this movie. The kill scenes, the character development, all that kind of stuff, story, blood, everything just went crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That blood part. Yeah.
A lot of blood.
The Art the Clown, it seems like you guys did this intentionally, where there's no backstory. I've heard a couple of people are surrounding the project kind of touch on that a little bit, where it's almost intentional. They don't want anybody to really know anything about Art the Clown. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I'm getting. But what do you pull from when there's really nothing in the background to create that character?
My imagination, I guess you could say. I mean, I know a lot more about the character than what we've already shown, because that's something I went to Damien about as soon as I got cast in the role. I'm like, okay, tell me everything about this guy. And he didn't even know a lot of that at the time. So we've kind of come up with his backstory and all that kind of stuff together. And who knows if we ever actually reveal everything about his backstory. Because I think part of the fun about the character is the mystery behind him, like who is he, what motivates him, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, we drop hints here or there,
Yeah.
And you get a little bit in that part too, but I know eventually we'll address some of it though. We might not show like who Art the Clown was as a kid and stuff like that, but we'll we'll probably show how he became Art the Clown as you know him now. Like kind of like how how Joker became the Joker when he was a Red Hood, but you didn't know who he was before he was Red Hood.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you guys just laid out an entire story of a character and you just won't tell anybody, which is part of, I guess, part of the genius of it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's, because I've heard people, that's part of the argument where it's like, oh, well, we don't know why he is. Well, who cares? Look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and that's the thing too, is like we want people to also be set in the same mindset as everybody else in the film. So like, this force of nature that comes in and starts wreaking havoc, and everybody's like, what the hell is going on? And that's what we're going for. Is like we want people to be as clueless as everybody else is, I guess you could say.
I love that. I really do. You guys, not to jump too far ahead, but you guys shared not on debut, but you shared box office space with a title called Halloween.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was kind of surreal. This is like I never imagined I would be in a theater at the same time as Michael Myers. I mean, that's kind of crazy, especially during the month of October. That's insane because, we weren't even supposed to be in theaters that weekend anyway. We were only supposed to be in theaters for 3 days. That was it. And it's just that demand was there for us to keep going and going and going. So I was like, oh, wow. So yeah, being in theaters the same week as Mike Myers, that's something else, man. I'm like, wow.
Because it almost put you guys in a boxing ring, right? Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who would have thought Art the Clown would have went up against Michael Myers? And like you said, we'll talk about theatrical releases and everything a little bit, but it was initially only supposed to be a 3-day, and that got extended, and I think it got extended again recently. Now that you're able to sit and go, okay, my character is going up again, does that change? Like, does it add a different lens to the way you look at things at that point?
Yeah, but I haven't really truly processed it all yet. It's still kind of sinking in what all is going on, because it's God, every single day there's been something happening, and it's like, God, what is going on? It's just like it's been a roller coaster recently. So, but yeah, it's kind of cool to know that we're no longer just this underground indie film. It's like we're mainstream now. Like people, when they're talking about you on Access Hollywood and The Talk and Howard Stern and stuff, like, wow, okay, we're a little bit bigger than we thought we were now. Okay, wow, okay, cool.
Not only everywhere. Like
everywhere.
you guys have. My aunt called me the other day and she was like, "Oh, should I see Halloween Ends?" And I was like, "No, it sucked." Biases aside, but she's trying to figure out what maybe go see Smile. I'm like, and she's out in drive-in movies, so it's not super big over there theatrical. So I said, well, do they have Terrifier 2? And she said, oh, I heard about that. My aunt does not hear about anything unless it's like grandiose.
Yeah,
and I also told her not to see it. She would be one of the people to pass out.
Yeah. I understand. I totally understand. I don't take any offense to that at all. I'm like, yeah, it's not a movie everybody can handle. So I'm like, yeah. And it also it's really weird. Like my roommate said she was walking in the other day from work, and a cab passed by on the street, and they were showing on the little ad thing on top of the cab Terrifier 2 stuff. And I'm like, holy crap, I didn't even know we were on cabs now. This is insane. Because we didn't. We weren't doing any of that kind of stuff originally. So it's just that word of mouth has gotten out and everybody's talking about it. It's kind of exciting though, because it's like it's a new horror franchise for people, a new icon. Because we really haven't had any more like newer horror icons since like Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Was you mentioned that going up against Michael Myers for box office was kind of a milestone. Was that the same way that you felt when there was like first the story that someone had passed out, like when that was going around? Were you a little bit proud?
Oh yeah. Especially when I saw our scores versus Michael Myers' scores. I'm like, well, there you go. But that's about all I'm going to say about that movie. So
fair.
Like, I will just say it made me mad. That movie genuinely made me mad as a Halloween fan, because I am a huge Halloween fan. I'm like, this was such disrespect.
I agree.
Because of the sewer wrestling.
all of that. It's just disrespect to the character, disrespect to the franchise, disrespect to the fans, all that. And like, even hyping this thing up for years, it's going to be the big epic finale between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. This is the end all be all fight. Yeah. And then they're, just demoted to being secondary characters to their own final film. I'm like the fuck? I'm like, I understand if this was like a film in the middle of a trilogy or something like that, it would have been fine. But you don't go into the final Michael Myers, Laurie Strode movie to see a story about some kid that got beaten up by band nerds named Corey.
That's my argument.
No, I didn't go in for that.
Michael Myers got bullied by the kid getting bullied by the band geeks.
Yeah, I'm like, what the? And this is like the movie prior. He had just taken down an armed mob that had been attacking him,
right?
Like Jackie Chan. And I'm like, but then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, what? I felt sorry for James Jude Courtney too, because I'm like, the man's great as Michael Myers. He does a great Michael Myers, and he was just totally not used in this movie the way he should have been. I mean, this is supposed to be their big, huge, epic fight.
Right.
And it was just, here, let's throw a refrigerator on him.
I'm probably the most mad I've ever been on the show that our other host, Rob, isn't here to hear that, because he likes it. He's been, me and him have been fighting over this thing.
Yeah, he came into our show the other day. Like, we can all agree that it was better than Kills, though, right? And it's like, I don't agree to that. No. I didn't agree to that.
It's like they put two movies in one movie. It's just like you have the Corey story, and then you have this add-on Michael Myers story at the very end. And I'm like, I didn't need the Corey story. At all. That would have been fine. It's his own movie, But this is just like And one way they could have remedied it all, too, is a very simple thing they could have done with that final shot with the mask on the table. It's pull in close, and you see a silver shamrock stamp on the inside of the mask.
That would have been good.
Okay. That would have changed it. You're right.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't have liked it, but that could have saved it a little.
It would have saved it some. I was just like, it's like, I just don't understand what happened. I don't understand. I'm like, who saw the first script and goes, this is what we need for the final movie with these characters.
That's 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how did the actors evolve? Even sit there and go, what is this?
No one said anything.
No one said anything. And there's so many things they could have done to make it better, and they didn't. I'm like, I had so many missed opportunities. And poor Diana Prince, I gotta say, she's a friend of mine, and I'm like, that woman has done so much to spread the love for the Halloween franchise on Joe Bob's show, and her death is not even on screen.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they said, it's going to be in the extras. I'm like, how dare you do that to Diana? I'm like you go to these movies to see the kills. Why are you not showing the kill?
Yeah.
They're showing Corey's kill.
Yeah. I'm like, I mean, the DJ kill was cool, but
not to turn the. We'll get back on point eventually.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. That is, I didn't think about, because I hate Halloween 3 too. Like
he does.
I don't like it. That's another argument I get into a lot. But if I didn't even think about that, if this would have been Halloween 3, that's a perfect way to not have Michael Myers, but keep Michael Myers. That's what Halloween 3 should have been.
Yeah, that could have worked. That could have worked totally fine.
Yeah,
totally fine. It's just like, it seems like they were trying to do so many things at once. And I'm like, no, this need to be streamlined. And like, no, this stick to what you've been building up to this whole entire time. That's what people want to see. This final fight between Laurie and Michael.
Yeah.
I could Terrifier 2 now, to tie that into what you just said, David, because that's a great point. How did you guys approach that? Because granted, you're not on, the level of a Halloween historically and all that. But you followed up from the first Terrifier. Now you got a chance to do it again. You got everybody's attention now, and everyone's sitting back on Terrifier 1 was cool, but now what are they going to do? And you guys did not get. You changed your story. You added a whole story. You did so much without getting carried away and losing what Terrifier 1 was. How do you approach that?
Oh God, I think that's better question for Damien since he wrote it all.
Yeah.
But it's like that's what we want to do is just keep the essence of what everybody loved about Terrifier in art, but build the universe around him now, and like build the mythology around him. And it's like I think what people were surprised that we added a lot of fantasy elements to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like the sword and all that kind of stuff. And it's like he's got a whole plan. He hasn't even told me the whole entire plan yet. So, but I trust him. Oh. I trust him. I'm like, yeah, he has ideas. I suggest things to him. He goes, oh, that's cool. I got other ideas. I'm like, what's going on in your brain?
Tell me.
I know, because I want to know too. I'm just like, oh my God, I have questions too. Like it's not just the fans that have questions. I have questions and I can't wait for them to be answered.
Admittedly, the sword and all that, that was probably my least favorite part of the movie. I mean, granted, high bar set because I love this damn thing, but I suspended my disbelief because you guys put me in that realm where it's like, okay, you know what? They did so much. Everything else is perfect. I'm going to go with it and see what they do. Again, I guess this is a question for Damien, but even just as you being the character and thinking about where you might have to go, I guess what part does that play in this Terrifier world? Because you're really by textbook a slasher. Yeah. Now we're doing all other stuff. Yeah. What's the range like involved with that? Because you might have to go some crazy places.
Yeah, I mean, I look at him. He's still slasher. It's like I look at him like art is brought back for the dead for a purpose. But he's also, I kind of look at him as like hell's avatar on Earth, just to cause chaos and madness wherever he goes. So he's like, and that's kind of how he was in this one. He's like, he's given free reign to like kill people and stuff like that, but he's also given a goal by the pale girl character. Just like, okay, you have to go after this family, but you can still have fun, but you have to get rid of this girl because she's key to something. She's the only thing that can stop what we plan. So we have to get rid of her now, and that doesn't go according to plan. So it's like it's like he had that whole thing, like that pit concocted there for her. That's why he brought her there to the Terrifier. He had to get rid of her in a certain way, and it failed. Right. Yeah. So it's now it's like, okay, what's going to go happening going forward now? It's like this plan still got to happen. So I'm like, oh boy, but now he's got someone that's a threat to him, and he knows that. Now he's like, oh shit, fuck. So he was more confident in part 2, but we'll see how he is in part 3 because now he knows he actually has a rival out there.
So I'm sure that you probably more than anyone were prepared for what was going to happen in Terrifier 2, but were there any moments, just because the fan reaction, everyone's been getting like so queasy over some of the stunts in Terrifier 2, were there any things that on set were like, oh God, this is horrific, this is gross?
Oh God, yeah. I'm like, so many times, it's sometimes good that they weren't running sound because you will hear my reactions to stuff, if my face wasn't being shown. Like a good example is like when I, was digging into that body cavity of Brooke after I killed her. They put all this gunk inside of there, like bones and like chicken innards and stuff like that. It was gross. It was just so gross and cold. It was right before dinner too. I'm like, we had to film this right before I had to eat dinner, and I'm like, oh God, now I have all this guts and everything all over my hands. I'm like, I need to wash my hands. Like, this is Salmonella City here. So I was just kind of like, oh God, oh God, it's so cold. It's so what? Why is that hard? Just like, like what is going on? Ooh.
That is amazing. That's special features right there. They should have been running tip for Terrifier 3.
I hope they have some of that because it's funny. It's funny because you see me in the full costume. I'm just like, yeah, Brody, just like, yeah. Also, like the can't stand bones breaking, and so having to do, I was just like, God. And the hand split. I wasn't expecting it to split nearly as far as it went, so I was like, oh God, sorry.
And that's a great point. I want to kind of compound on what Kat said. Because you see the script and you said you loved the script and that's what was going to make it great. But there's a difference between seeing you digging a body and then you actually having to, like, oh yeah, what goes through your head? Do you instantly think, well, how am I going to, like, do you envision it immediately?
Yeah, some of those I don't even realize what I've gotten into until I get into it. And I'm like, why? What are you doing right now, man? You have a degree in teaching. Like, my God, why? This is crazy. But then you have those other moments where, like, I get to play with a flamethrower and a Tommy gun. It's awesome. It's like, yeah, it's, I just throw myself into whatever and go with it.
Not being able to speak too. That's got to be a challenge. And, we see Michael Myers, we were just talking about, Jason, but you have such a different approach to it because they're just straight murderous, no expression. Yeah. You have all these, and that's part of my, like, the stuff that Art does. Oh, look who decided to show up. The stuff that Art does is awesome. But to me, the most fun is seeing the pure joy and excitement that he experiences doing this stuff. And like, I even say it out loud when I'm watching it. I'm like, look at how happy he is.
Oh yeah. He's so happy. He is so happy. He's having the time of his life. This is like pure joy for him. And I love that. And it's like, and what I do is, like, even though I don't have dialogue, I am making my own dialogue in my head. So I'm reacting to things. So it just helps me get into character that way. And, actually helps with timing with a lot of things. If I'm actually saying things in my head, it helps me get the beats down the way I need to get them down with how I react to things. But oh yeah, Art has so much fun. He loves what he does. It's pure joy.
Speaking of your reactions, this is a weird question. Do you have any, like, clown or mime training?
Not professionally, no. I never went to actual classes for that. I don't know why there's a rumor out there that I have professional mime training. I don't.
I think it's just because, like, we were talking about this the other day. Art feels like a clown first. Like, he's having fun. He's very performative. Yeah. And I was just wondering, like, if that's, if it's difficult to do and where you learn to do it. If not, it's college.
I just learned from watching great physical comedians and clowns and all that my whole entire life in movies and stuff like that. It's just like I grew up watching, like, the old black and white, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, Marx Brothers, Charlie Chaplin, all that kind of stuff. Mr. Bean, Jim Carrey, Doug Jones, all that. Just great physical actors. And I also toured with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, for 5 years. And our Grinch was the wonderfully talented Stephen Carl, who was Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town.
Oh.
And wow. Stephen was actually trained, I believe, in all of that kind of stuff. So, being his understudy for 5 years, I learned a lot from him. And I actually, unfortunately, he passed away back in 2018 from cancer. But there's a tribute to him at the in credits for Terrifier 2. It's like, yeah, I awesome. Took a lot from what I learned from him and put it into art. So art would not exist if it were not for Stephen Carl.
That is incredible. David, I would like to introduce you to our other co-host, Rob the Strangler Humphrey.
Hey, Rob.
Wait, why do I get a nickname all of a sudden?
Because you just straggled along. So, David, now what were you saying about how Halloween Ends was a terrible, shitty movie? What was all that again?
It's exactly what he said.
Wait, what is happening here?
You show up late, we gang up on you.
All right, that's fine. Fair enough.
Did we watch the same movie, Rob?
It's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Rob is about to get attacked by Art the Clown, and I couldn't be happier right now.
Unbelievable. It's a fun movie, and it takes
not
a
for
look
a
at,
Halloween movie.
but yeah, because
not
it's
for the final movie with Mike Myers and Laurie Strode.
it's an interesting exploration of sort of the specter of Michael Myers hanging over Haddonfield. I loved it.
Well, that's great if it's not the final one.
Well, I don't know that any of us actually believe that Halloween has ended, right? I mean, then
this might have ended it.
I believe it more now.
They haven't sent Michael Myers to space yet, so we know
to send his pureed body up in space.
Oh, when do we get Art in space?
That's a good question. When do we get Art in space?
Art in space? I don't know. I like to see him on out at sea on a cruise ship or something.
Oh, on his way to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Art takes Manhattan.
Oh yeah. Art takes Manhattan. Just punch a guy's head off. Oh wait, that's been done before.
Rob,
okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to ask if you had anything since you just.
Well, I don't know what you guys have already covered. I don't want to repeat stuff.
We had no problem repeating Halloween Ends was terrible.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I don't know what's happening all of a sudden.
I don't know. Neither did the writers.
Geez. So I did have a super important question though. In the
Rob,
laundromat
I swear
scene,
to God.
God damn it.
Was that you, or did you use a stunt ass for that?
That unfortunately was my real ass. I'm so sorry for it. I keep on saying that's why everybody's puking and passing out. It's like no one wants to see that. I was actually at when we did the premiere in Austin when that happened. I just let out I'm sorry.
But now, see, that's part of what makes art though. And that happened within the first 5 minutes of the movie. It's like, wow,
Terrifier 2, guys, here's Art's ass.
But you set the tone. Like how much do you think, because I already know out of 10 it's a 10, but all the the kind of stuff like that, just the side stuff that Art does outside the killing, and that personality that you've added to him without being able to even speak, that's what makes art to me.
I agree. It's that kind of stuff. It makes him more relatable. He's not just some mythological type of character you see in all these other movies. He's doing everyday things. And I think that's kind of makes him scarier, because I'm like, oh my God, this guy could just be walking among us.
He's real.
Yeah, he's real.
Yeah, we've never seen Jason Voorhees do his laundry.
No, that's the thing. You've never seen any of these horror icons outside of their costume.
Right.
It's just and we've done that in both films with Art. We did it in the first film when he wore the body parts and everything. Now we do it again in this. It's unusual to see movie horror villain outside of their wardrobe.
Yeah. That is very true. A quick question, because this is just a personal, I have to know. From Terrifier to Terrifier 2, Art, for the most part, stood, I mean, identical. But were there any, because I feel like looking at the face in Terrifier 2, there's small detail upgrades.
Not that I know of. No, because we still use the same mold and everything like that. Wow. I mean, Damien might have put sometimes a little extra shading or something like that in there with the makeup, but that's about it. I mean, it's the same mold we use. Though that's funny that you say that, though, because there's one scene in Terrifier 1 where I have a different mask. Ooh. And someone asked me, it's like, oh, your cheekbones are a lot more pronounced in this one shot. And I'm like, yeah, it's like when I'm with the police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because he had made a mold off of my face, and he used that mask that night, and it was a different mask. It just looked a little bit, it was just more gaunt, more skeletal and stuff like that, and just didn't have the same look that we wanted. And so I this whole entire time I've been using the mask made off of Mike Gianelli's mold. So it's really, I have the same mask as Art and All Hallows Eve.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just looked extra creepy for some reason. I couldn't tell what it is.
It's his confidence.
Yeah.
It's all the confidence, because he's like, yeah, I came back from the dead. I'm hard to kill, bitches. Let's have fun.
You could feel that too. You could sense it.
Oh yeah.
Honestly. you own that role. I mean, you were great in Terrifier 1, but like now you got your boots on, man. You know what you're doing, and you're the shit at it, and you could feel it.
Yeah, that's what was. I'm glad that translated, because that's what I wanted to get across. It's like, he's, and plus I was also more confident with the role this time myself. I knew it worked now, because filming part 1, I wasn't sure how the fans would respond to my interpretation of the character versus what Mike Giannelli had done. Now I'm like, okay, they like this. Let's keep doing it. We knew what the fans like. They like those scenes, like the pizzeria scene and stuff like that. Let's do more of that kind of stuff. Let's put Art in these really interesting situations. Except just him always killing. Let's put him some funnier situations too.
Yeah. Well, you're very creepy as Art. That is actually the reason why I was late. I was scared.
Yeah. He was sleeping, David.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
blame
a busy
you.
Man. I'm
Sleep
a busy
is great. I like my naps when I can get them.
Yeah. Have you ever snap out a character in the middle of one of these crazy scenes and just think to yourself, what the hell am I doing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What the hell are we doing
on me? Yeah. Yeah, it's usually where I'm just doing stuff like I'm like digging someone's brains out of their skull. I'm like, what the fuck? This is crazy. This is crazy here.
That kind of leads into as we're probably starting to wrap up here. Lauren also, when we spoke with her, had said you would do voice imitations of people.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites that you are known for?
Oh, I love doing the Herbert the Pervert voice, because it just seems so funny when Art's like, I said, get over here, I'm gonna kill you.
Oh my God. Coming from Art the Clown, that is terrifying.
It's just when you're in that makeup, that voice just works so well for it. It's just like, come on, Santa.
Art the Clown got scarier for me. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see this now, I'm gonna think, if Art ever does speak, please let it be that, David.
Oh,
let it be that voice.
Have it sing like tiptoe through the tulips, tiptoe through the tulips. Like, oh God, this is wrong. But yeah, I slip them to him all the time. Like I know one shot where Jonathan's holding the gun on me. You got those two barrels. I had a Bugs Bunny moment, because it's like the shot was just going on forever. They're not saying cut. I'm like, did they forget to say cut? And he's just staring at me with the gun, and I'm like, I stick my fingers in the barrel of the gun. I'm like, yeah, you stinker. And they're like, Dave. I'm like, sorry, I couldn't resist. Going on forever. I had to do
something. I asked Lauren this, but I'm going to ask you as well. Do you have a favorite horror movie, and what is it?
Oh God, I have a lot, but
why
probably,
is it Halloween End?
Definitely not.
Movie of the year.
Because I love part 1 and part 2 so much. Oh my God, I kind of lump those in as one whole movie in a lot of ways, because it fits so well that way.
Yeah.
I mean, part 2 especially has such a great cat and mouse game to it. Oh God, it's so good. Just the tension of that movie is so good. Especially with her in the car, and you're just dreading seeing Michael walk out of that building. You're like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. And then the horn goes off. You're like, no! Oh, that was so good. But probably my favorite is one of my favorites at least is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
It's just so good all around.
Nice. We have a listener that is very critical of Terrifier and Art the Clown, and that's his favorite movie of all time. So I just wanted to rub it in Greg's face a little bit. Speaking of that argument, David, and I know we're wrapping up, but I have to ask you your opinion on this, because the gun. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's very
which gun now?
Well, yeah. And I'm glad you guys doubled down on that shit. Good for you guys. Yes. I don't see it as a big deal, and a lot of people give Art the Clown shit for the gun and using the gun in 1, and you guys doubled down in 2. But how unfair is that people try and take the slasher credibility? Because it's not like you just walk around with a gun. You do more than any other killer has done in decades. And
you're just rounding out a collection of weapons.
How do you feel about that, David? What are your thoughts?
I think it's totally fine. I mean, he's not the only one that's used a gun. I mean, Ghostface usually has a gun. Chucky's used guns. Maniac had guns, and like this is like it's totally fine. It's just it's if you use the gun as a slasher would, and that's how Art uses a gun. He doesn't use it just to kill someone. He uses it to disfigure people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does that, of course, with Tara, shooting her all over the face. But then he used that shotgun just to obliterate Barbara's face. And it's just like, good God. It's just like, that's how he uses a gun. That's not his end-all be-all weapon. Sometimes that's just his backup. With Barbara, that was just for shits and giggles. He thought that was funny.
Yeah.
It's like, boom.
He gets shit done, man. And that's how I looked at it. He's got it on his ankle, which we've seen him just in case. If all else fails, I'm getting this done. Yeah. I respect it.
Oh yeah. The man's got a plan. But he has so many fun weapons. He that's the thing. He'll use anything he can as a weapon if he's like MacGyver.
The man came back in the room holding salt, for God's sake.
I would love to just see him walk into a Home Depot and just have this like world of imagination moment. Just like, so much fun.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That's what I want in Terrifier 3. I want a shopping segment from Art the Clown, and I want a napping segment from Art the Clown.
Him having a nap.
That could be the sequel to your butt, David.
Yeah.
If his napping we squeezed that into Terrifier 3. Do you guys have anything else for David before we wrap up?
No.
I
don't.
I don't know what you guys covered, so I'll just leave it at that. I trust that you did a good job.
You just sit in your Halloween Ends corner over there.
Yeah. This corner is shame.
This is shame. Little dunce cap on his head, all that. Oh.
I also wanted to mention, just so we can give her a little shout out, we do have a mutual friend, Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Kelly.
Creepazoid Kelly.
Yes.
She's a longtime friend of the show, and she's told us how close you guys are. You guys are good friends. Yeah. She's amazing. Oh, good God. If anybody's got fortitude, it's her. Yes. My God, what that woman has been going through for years now with cancer is just like, my God, what a fighter. And she don't give a fuck, No. She don't care. No, she's still out there kicking ass, and it's like, just despite all the odds, everything's against her, and she's still just fighting. And I'm like, I have so much just love and respect in her. I'm just like, it's tough because I lost my mom to cancer, so I know what it does to you. And it's like you see what it's doing to her, and most people would just be like, okay, I'm done. She's just like, no, I'm going to still keep doing things and tweeting and messaging people and doing what I can to spread the word of different movies and all that kind of stuff, despite all the pain she's going through. It's like, she's awesome. Love her. Yeah. Love you, Kelly. Shout out to Kelly. It was just her birthday yesterday as we record this. Oh, it was. I missed your birthday. Yeah. I got to send her a message then. Yeah. Happy birthday, Kelly. Yeah, happy birthday. Happy birthday. David, thank you so much for your time today. I've enjoyed this more than you could imagine. Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. Do you want to let anybody know where they can find you? Anything you want to plug? Other than God, I have other stuff coming out. I got the Mean One comes out this December. Oh, it's our horror film based on How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's our parody of it, so that's going to be released on streaming platforms for free. So it's pure camp and silliness. So y'all have fun with that one. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, it's going to be. I'm like, how has this never been made before? I know why it's never been made before, because the Seuss estate's like, no, no, tough shit. Fair use doctrine. When you say our, who's involved with that with you? It's actually a good friend of the Fuzz and Lens guys, Steve Lamort. He's the director for it. Okay, awesome. Turns out the Seuss estate was the Grinch all along. Yeah, turns out. That's sad.
But we also doing an Indiegogo campaign for this other movie I'm about to start filming early next year called The Dead Place. So if anybody can, tribute to that, that'd be very, very much appreciated because, that Indiegogo campaign is what made Terrifier 2 possible. So, make another film possible. It's like indie film is, that's we're able to do a lot of things that mainstream horror's not able to do. So there you go. Then also got this movie called Stream coming out with a lot of the Terrifier 2 team next year. We have an amazing cast for that too. I mean, geez, we have Dee Wallace, Jeffrey Combs, Tony Todd, Danielle Harris, Roebuck, Terry Alexander, Tim Reed. The list goes on and on and on. All these people are involved in this movie, and it's a fun concept. It's hopefully going to be another franchise as well. So got some fun stuff coming. But you can also find me on Instagram and Facebook under David Howard Thornton. I try my best to message people back, but lately it's gotten a little bit overwhelming. So I'm sorry if you don't hear back from me. I'm just got way too many messages now.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can imagine. David, thank you so much for your time, man. And thank you for what you've done for the horror genre.
It's my privilege.
This movie really, you guys broke boundaries with this thing.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
I don't think that's, all the blood and guts are cool, but I don't think that's what you guys have done for the genre and indie movies and horror. That's not spoken about enough throughout all this. Yeah. So just thank you guys, man.
Thank you. Someone had to do it. Might as well be us.
Damn right. All right. Have a great night, David. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. I'll take care. Have a good one. All right. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yeah.